Everyone knows that curry is delicious, but I think people are sleeping on Malaysian curries. India gets love, Thailand gets love, even Japan gets love when it comes to curry, but people are definitely missing out on one of the best there is. This curry is spicy and fragrant in all the right ways, and when you pair it with some flaky homemade roti, it is just perfect fall fare. Let me show you how to make it. The salty, spicy paste that we're gonna make is going to both season the chicken and be kind of a marinade, and then it's also gonna get cooked down into the curry itself to form the flavor base of the curry. The paste is called Rempah in Malay, and it's pretty much the defining, cool, interesting feature of this curry. So let me show you how it's made. The main salty component, you can see it's wrapped up like a hardcore piece of equipment because it is a shrimp paste called belacan. Once you open it, you gotta be kind of mindful of how it sits in your fridge because it will make your milk taste like shrimp. It's very salty, it's very shrimpy. It is a very, very strong flavor component of our dish. When you use a knob of it and that gets cooked down into an entire pot of curry, the flavor gets really sort of split throughout the entire thing and it's very, very good. Like that much. 10 grams is what I like to do. My dog just came downstairs because she's very, very interested in the smell of it. So, this seems a bit weird. What we're gonna do, wrap it tightly in foil, and then this is just gonna go in a medium heat pan for a few minutes. Right now it's very pasty. We wanna cook off a little bit of that water and get it kind of crumbly. The next ingredient is gonna be about 10 grams of dried chilies that I'm gonna go ahead and de-seed. Tear them in half, just squeeze out the seeds, pretty easy, and then we'll cover this in some boiling water for like 10, 15 minutes until they're softened. Really, I like a pretty smooth paste for this, and I've made this with all dried chilies, and I think that's really good, and I think it works well if you can't find the next ingredient, which are just red, small, spicy chilies. Kind of Thai style bird's eye chilies. I'm gonna use one, you could do two, and then I'm gonna get the seeds out. Just chop it down. This is gonna go in the blender with everything else. So literally just gonna cover these with enough water. That's gonna soften them, make them nice and reconstituted, and I'll wrap this just to make the process quicker. Right now we've got our salty with the shrimp paste, we've got our heat with the chilies and the fresh chili. We need some aromatic. This is the biggest shallot I think I've ever seen in my life. This is straight up an onion-sized shallot. For this paste, I like about 2 shallots. About half of this shallot I'm gonna use because I think the whole thing is like 4 shallots worth. This is massive, it's so big. I'm just gonna cut it really rough, big pieces. It's gonna get blended. Next up, lemongrass, which is, I think, one of the most delicious smells and flavors on the planet. My gosh, it's so good. To prep it, you just need to get rid of the outer layers. I'll cut off the end and then right about there. That's gonna make it a lot easier to peel. Once it starts getting softer, you'll be good. But lemongrass smells kind of pine lemony. This is so stupid. If you're someone who likes the smell of pine sol, lemongrass is right up your alley. So you don't get a huge yield on each piece, but the flavor is so, so, so nice. If we want like a really, really beautifully colored curry, turmeric is sort of the go-to for that. Turmeric has this like almost menthol-y smell and taste. It also will dye your fingers and everything it touches, which is great because in our case, this is gonna color the whole curry. It's gonna give it this really, really beautiful sort of yellowy orange color. And that's gonna make it sort of look more appealing. You're gonna wanna eat it because it's gonna look delicious. The last component for this paste is some sort of nut. So traditionally this is candlenut, which is hard to find. What this does is it grinds down, creates a little bit of a paste in the curry mix, and then once you cook it up, it thickens. And so this is like, a very, very small handful of a replacement nut, which is macadamia. I've used hazelnuts and that worked well. I think hazelnuts have a little more flavor than like macadamia nuts, just dry roasted macadamia nuts, about 5 or so. You can grab a few more if you want it more thick. That actually creates like a thicker texture to the curry itself, which I think is perfect when you're trying to like scoop it up with a roti. Oh, it's the best. So shrimp paste. Oh, it's hot still. You can see instead of pasty, it's way more like crumbly. Crumbly is good. That's what we want. also gonna squeeze in just a little bit of peanut oil to help. This is still very chunky. I wanna go further. I wanna get this pretty smooth. Ooh, my eyes are burning. Oh heavens. Okay, more water. The water's gonna cook out, so it's fine. 2 pounds or so of chicken thigh. I'm just gonna get cleaned up, you know, depending on the piece, probably into fourths or so. Large enough to, you know, really look nice, but also close enough to bite size. Quite large, more than bite size. Never trust the package when it tells you it's boneless. Thighs specifically, I find like 1 out of 3 pieces have a little bit of bone left. I almost never like to just throw in a thing of chicken into the pot without having felt it first, because that's how you end up with pieces that aren't good to eat. Probably about 2 to 3 tablespoons of the paste. And then I am gonna season this with salt as well. Let's get this all nice and mixed. Once the chicken and the paste are all nice and combined, I'm just gonna set this in the fridge to chill until I'm ready to eat. I wanna give the paste the time it needs to work its way all throughout the meat. 2 things, potatoes and onions are gonna help this curry become a bit more of a hearty affair. This is about a 1.5 pound bag that I'll use 1 pound of. So 2 pounds of chicken to 1 pound of potato. These waxy yellow potatoes work a lot better for extended cooking times versus something like an Idaho or a russet. These stay soft and have a bite, while those floury potatoes fall apart and kind of disintegrate into stews or curries. Just bite-sized chunks of these is gonna be perfect. The onion is just half a yellow onion, diced, so it cooks down with the curry paste. If you're searching for a coconut milk to use, search for one without guar gum. That tends to make a little bit of a weird texture when it's thickened in a curry like this. It's usually fine for soups and stuff. My preference for this is for the curry to be really nice and thick, more like a sauce than a soup. This can be served with rice, but it's really good with flaky flatbreads, those roti I was talking about. I'm gonna make that recipe a video in the upcoming week, so go ahead and subscribe for that. As I'm ready, I'm gonna get my curry pot over medium and add in a tablespoon of oil and then the rest of the paste, everything we didn't use on the chicken. The goal is to fry the paste until it's dry and dark. I added a lot of water to make it smooth, so that needs to cook off before the flavor really starts to deepen. When it looks like this, basically after 5 minutes, the onions and chicken can go in. I'll give that a little seasoning with salt and curry powder. Just one that I've got lying around will work. It's gonna help enhance the dish, but if you don't have it, don't worry about it, don't buy it, don't go out of your way to get it. It's sort of a bonus flavor. Continue moving everything around to keep the paste from burning. There's enough water in the onions and the chicken that should help kind of get everything up and make sure the bottom doesn't get too brown. We're not looking to get color on this chicken. We're not looking for like browned, crispy chicken or anything. This is just to sort of start the cooking process. We're gonna cook this in 2 distinct stages. The first is like a simmer to cook the chicken. So at this point, we're gonna add in the coconut milk and scrape up anything that may become stuck to the bottom. If you don't scrape, there's a good chance the paste may get stuck and burn as it simmers. Now it's nice and combined, the bottom is clean. I'll add a few shakes of Maggi seasoning. It's like a more salty soy sauce equivalent. If you don't have it, just use soy sauce. Last thing for this stage is a bunch of fresh curry leaves. That fresh curry flavor is really nice and fragrant, but it is technically optional. I'll check the seasoning at the end, so don't worry about perfection right now. Those little bits of salt we added and the salt in the shrimp paste should be enough to carry us for a little while. I'm just looking for this to get up to a simmer, so little bubbles, turn it down to low and cover it for about 20 minutes. This is just to cook the chicken, so don't worry about the texture of the curry right now. This is a great time for some cleaning up because there's pretty much no need to touch the pot at this point. It's been 20 minutes. Looks about the same-ish. Chicken's cooked. Some water has come out of the chicken, so it's much thinner, which is really nice. My goal with this is for it to be a really nice, thick, scoopable curry, so you can grab it with some flatbread. But if it reduces too much now, before we add the potatoes, we're gonna be in a bad spot. So we can adjust this with water as needed. The good news is you can see these little kind of oil droplets pulling at the surface. Those are gonna be flavorful and delicious and help carry more of that flavor into your mouth, across your taste buds, and it's a good thing. Okay, potatoes going in. All 1 pound of them. I wanna adjust the heat just so it's barely burbling again. So it was low, all the way low, covered. we may go like, yeah, that feels right, medium low. Probably like 30 minutes or so until the potatoes are cooked and delicious. I'm gonna do it a little, gonna do a little salt for those potatoes as well, just to make sure they're seasoned throughout. Oh, it's already flavorful though. Very tasty. Okay, we're just gonna let this ride for 30 more minutes. We'll check it then. Those diced potatoes are gonna cook gently in the curry as the sauce reduces. The chicken's gonna get nice and tender, more than it already is, and the sauce should reduce to your preference. Mix this every now and then just to make sure that the sauce isn't sticking or burning as it cooks down. It smells so good and inviting at this point. It's legitimately hypnotizing. This is where we're at for 30 minutes of cooking. So overall, this has been simmering for about 50 minutes in total. The telltale thing that I look for is the oil splitting from the coconut milk. If it's too thick when that occurs, I'll just adjust the texture with water. Check one of the potatoes here just to make sure that it's cooked. So just pierce it with a fork, eat it, taste that curry for seasoning, and adjust it with sugar and salt as needed. I find this needs a lot of sugar to really help bring everything into balance, and a good amount of salt too. The texture that we're getting here is mostly coming from those nuts that we added and the water evaporating off the coconut milk. The flavor gets better and better as that water is gone. It's more concentrated and rich and delicious. Get this into a big bowl, give everyone their own small bowl so they can grab some, and serve everybody some roti. The shrimp paste can seem pretty scary when you're working with it. It's a pretty strong, pungent smell, but the salty flavor is similar to something like an anchovy in a spaghetti sauce. Much more of a background seasoning than the star. The star is really the lemongrass, the chilies, the turmeric. There's so much fragrance here. It's pretty different than a lot of curries you're gonna get. I think the texture is similar to a lot of Indian curries, but flavor-wise, it is much more akin to kind of like a fresh paste Thai curry. It very much is its own thing, and I think it deserves its rightful throne in the top echelon of curries out there. Go ahead and subscribe if you're interested in this kind of cooking video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Massive shout out to the amazing people supporting me directly on Patreon through patreon.com/CameronMarty. They get some cool benefits for supporting the channel, so check it out and consider becoming a patron. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Cheers.